Hello, and welcome to the Woman's Cave.
The Woman's Cave.
Or Ladies Tale podcast.
Because you know, y'all.
It's going to be so nice. We're going to run it twice.
Oh, that's probably what's going to happen. And high five social distance style for that one. Okay, Winona, that's amazing. I love it.
Never do that dance again.
I mean, well, we all know you can't dance, but you can write, so it don't matter.
That's true.
I'm Jade.
I do a rhythm with a pen, and I'm Winona.
You have rhythm with a pen?
Rhythm with a pen.
Y'all, I feel like you're going to start song. The rhythm is gonna get you. Anyway, I'm done. Yeah, and that's it. But
we wrote literary life guides.
Yeah, but we did write literary life guides with pop poetry. And we're gonna talk about the Women's Cave. That was like #1, y'all, in poetry anthologies. We don't like the word anthologies. We like to call them literary life guides. So, literary life guides. #1 though on Amazon. Like open up #1. It was so amazing. Thank y'all for making that happen.
For the support, yes. And what are the others too?
And I thought divorce was bad with other life lessons. And I thought being grown up was easy. Okay, you can check out everything your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com.
We have a co-host today. Co-host, would you like to introduce yourself?
That effectively saves our life all the time, right?
Yep, pretty much.
It's mutual. My name is Tanya Todd. I'm an author, actress, and screenwriter from Las Vegas.
Thank you. I love that she did the intro today. Nice and short.
So we have a lot of people in the Women's Cave. I mean, just a lot. Like, I feel like we're having like bourbons at this point because that's how many people we have. But we're so excited to get started.
Please understand I don't share my bourbon though. Continue.
What do you put their own bourbon in? Because
Okay,
it was a BYOB.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So we're gonna just start with our guests introducing themselves, and I guess we're starting with
Marcie.
Guys, my face hurts from laughing already. I'm face muscles. My name is Marcie Hume, and I'm a senior executive producer at A&E, and I'm a documentary filmmaker as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Megan.
Hi, I'm Meg Messmer. I'm a writer, producer, actor out of Atlanta. And I really liked the Gloria Estefan shout out you guys had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was poorly sang, but thank you.
I know it was. I never said I had a voice. Those are lies. Abby.
I'm Abbey Mac Donald. I'm Senior Vice President of Development. I work predominantly in TV, which means I also do damage control. But yeah, that's the Reader's Digest.
Oh, I like the Reader's Digest. Okay, y'all, if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm gonna need you to go and watch like the actual video because Abby's glasses are giving us life today.
It's giving me life.
It's Oprah.
Yeah, it's giving us life today, so we appreciate it. All right, BD.
Hello, everyone. I am filmmaker, author, director, and producer Danielle Watkins. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, but I'm currently in Buffalo, New York for the rest of the month. So yeah, that's it. That's me.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Ooh,
Look, I'm representing.
Yeah, you are.
No, I totally saw your Buffalo shirt and I was like, wait a minute.
Yes.
That looks like Buffalo.
That's where all my family
I thought it was.
Yes.
All right, onward to the questions. And I feel bad because I did invite everyone here to ask them one particular question. And that was, how on earth did you guys break the glass ceiling? Because there aren't as many women in any of your positions as there should be. So how'd you do it?
I think believing you can do it. I mean, it's so cliche, but it is so true. Like for me, it was just, I didn't even think I could get into a business like that when I was younger. I don't know why. I grew up being encouraged to do whatever I wanted to do. But when I realized that there wasn't anybody that was necessarily like born to do this or predestined in some way or necessarily that much smarter or better than me, whatever, I was like, oh, okay, we just do this then. We're just going to do it. And I just started working my butt off. I mean, that's truly what it was. I was just like, oh, I can do this. And then I just laser focused. I was like, I'm just not going to stop till I get there.
Wow. Okay.
That's an answer.
Honestly, for me, that glass ceiling is so, it was so close to my head because being a Black female lesbian screenwriter and looking for accurate representation was something that was not there for me. So it was one of those things where it was like, you create what you want to see. And if nobody is going to give you the opportunity, you seize the opportunity yourself. So for me, getting started was nothing more than saying, this is what I want. This is how I want myself portrayed on screen. This is what I want to see. So in order for it to happen, I need to do it. There was no other conversation to have, but what's next?
love that.
Love that. Oh
A-
my goodness. I
Abby,
feel like I can
Megan?
go take on the world now.
Meg, do you want to go next? Or do you want me to jump in?
You're in.
Okay. Mine was such a great question, by the way. I think, I've been working since I was 9. Identical triplet. We were in the music business. Yeah, 2 more of me. And I think having that support and also my dad kind of instilling a lot of fearlessness. I think for me, I've always just kind of gone into stuff not knowing you're going to hear no. And I never went into any position like, hey, I'm female, I'm diverse, etc. I just kind of went in and worked my tail off. And I've been very lucky as far as who I've been insulated with, as far as mentors, etc. And I just know like, hey, if you believe in something enough, you're going to get it done. And you just connect the dots. So it's not, I don't want to diminish what I do, but it's not rocket science. It's just looking at, hey, here's what the end goal is. And then looking at all the dots and saying, okay, I got to do X, Y, and Z. And, you just keep doing it with abandon. And again, being fearless has kind of been my superpower, I would say.
Nice.
So for me, I was going to come at this question like a little bit differently. I think in the creative space, especially like all the stuff that we do, there's no path. And I think that's the hardest thing for creatives is that there's not a clear path that says if you go to school, I mean, especially for actors, producers, creators, writers, like that you are going to graduate, get a job, and then work up the ladder. That's just not something that happens in our business. And so as much as everyone on this has said, like you just work your ass off and do, I think that's like the number one is you just do. And that's something that I continually learn in my career. I have an interesting background in that, I started as an actor, but I didn't want to just be an actor that waits tables. So I started interning everywhere that I could, got a job in production at a TV studio company. Then from there, worked in management at one of the top agencies out in LA. And so for me, it was really interesting being on the buying and selling side and then seeing how the business works on the other side. And so, like I said, there's no path. What I learned from all those jobs is that as a creative, you just have to keep creating. And then somewhere, something will fit, something will stick, something will happen because you're putting in the work. Or I just read Big Magic, shout out if you've read it, because what she's really done for me in reading her book is sometimes maybe nothing will stick, but you will have a fulfilled creative life because you are actually doing something. And that's sort of where I'm at in my creative life right now is just like, I don't want to leave this world with coronavirus like attacking us, whatever. But like, I don't want to leave this world without putting my stamp and my view and my, point of view out there. And I think Danielle sort of said that too. Like if she wants to see something on screen, she's going to do it. So I don't know if that answered exactly your question. I
don't know if it answered the question, but you have me over here taking notes already. So.
Well, I did because it feels like all of you are saying what you said, just do. I mean, find what you want to do and work toward it with like 110%. Right? That's what it seemed like everyone was saying was like, find it and work to it.
Because you can
honestly, it's like, I'm sorry.
No,
Marcie.
go ahead, please.
No, honestly, it's like, you're right. If you don't do it, you don't know you can't do it, number one, because you haven't tried. But you have to do it. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in yourself so that the world believes in it. So you have to put that effort. You have to put that fearless face on, whether you're fearful or not. You have no choice but to do that.
Oh,
Yeah. Agreed. I think, the world conspires to kind of keep you in a very average, even path because it's scary to go outside of that. But I'm with everybody on the doing of it. I mean, it is so easy for your brain to trick you into not doing. I mean, I think all of us, even people that are working really hard, I think we all have moments where, you're sort of afraid of the outcome of something, so you don't do it. And you avoid the biggest things because you don't, you're deep down really afraid. And that's everybody. And that's the big thing we have to fight to be loud. I love what BD was saying about like, I didn't see this voice out there. And that's the great truth of it too, is that the world is lacking your voice until you get it out. You know, that's kind of how I see it.
So you, as creatives, we have a large risk and reward kind of thing. So like we take large risk and stepping outside of the normal path, hoping for the large reward. How do you manage expectations and keep your business mind focused?
That was a good. Well, Nona, what have you? Where has
I
this
can go
been?
first because everybody got kind of quiet. Honestly, when it comes to expectations in my business, I have to be real with myself because honestly, nobody knows more expectation than you have within yourself than yourself. And then you think that you're disappointing the world when in reality, you're disappointing the high expectations that you set for yourself. So I had to kind of realize that being hard on you makes it harder. That was a very hard lesson for me to learn. But through this business, number one, it's a lot of trial and error. Number two, you have to meet people, to understand people, to learn people, to get through people, to make shit happen, right? And then on the other side of that, you have to be firm in what you want. So what you can't do is sway because you bring in partners or sway because you have somebody else that's going to co-produce and things like that. So when it comes down to expectation and understanding of the business, you have to make sure you're firm in what you want for your vision. And then just make sure you give yourself the benefit of the doubt and also give yourself space to make the errors, because I have had more disappointment within myself than I have within the industry.
I think it all comes down, for me, it comes down to motivation. A lot of people get into this business because they want the splashy lights. They want to be famous. It's about the, the quick payday. You've heard me say this before. I said, our business sometimes is like trying to cook a steak by breathing on it. It's going to taste really great when it's done, but there's a lot of work. Like for me, it's never been about the money. Film and TV literally saved my life. I can't have kids. So for me, this is like, what is the legacy and how can I help the world be better? So I think when you're in this business, which we always say is, chasing the dream, living the nightmare, is you have to keep on that path. Because again, it's hard. If it were easy, everybody would be a part of the club, right? So for me, it always comes down to, why do I really want to do this? Because again, we are our worst critics, right? Yeah. So how do we get through it day to day? How do we stay on the path? And because you deal with a lot of feelings in this business and, managing those expectations for yourself, but also for others too, right? So I think it comes down to just like, hey, why am I doing this? And checking in with yourself, if it's quarterly, if it's monthly, if it's pandemic daily, why am I doing this?
I really agree with that.
Yeah, because
go ahead.
No, because again, it's like you're dealing with, there's so much, you could get a show bought, right? And that's just the first tiny little anthill.
Yeah.
Like when there's a movie that you see and you're like, oh my God, that was shit. You think about all those steps, even like shooting, post-production, color, sound, having to go through standards and practices. So I try my damnedest not to ever criticize too much on people's stuff, but it's like, you've already won the battle if you can pay your rent by working in this business. But if you're still on that first step of just getting into the business, just know it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
So, and know that you're getting into it for 24 hours a day, and you can't just be looking at am I famous yet? Am I rich yet? Do people know my name? That shouldn't be the motivation.
Well, and that also is not going to fulfill you. Like, because I watched Jim Carrey has a documentary on him. I think it's on Netflix. That was really, really inspirational for me, because one of the things he says in there, he's like, I wish people knew that when you get there, you're not guaranteed to be happy. And again, like that's, I think, when the most important thing that you could be doing is your own creativity and like creating and being in a place where you can, leave your legacy. And that should be where you stem from, all the time. I want to read a quote because you guys mentioned something, and I don't know, I just posted this on my Instagram today, like an hour ago. So let me read it to you and let me see what you think. This is a quote from Stephen Pressfield from The War of Art. Are you paralyzed with fear? That's a good sign. Fear is good. Like self-doubt, fear is an indicator. Fear tells us what we have to do. Remember one rule of thumb. The more scared we are of a work or calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. So I thought that was such a beautiful, I love that book. It keeps me inspired to like just keep doing the work, which is the day-to-day you know, grind when you're not feeling well. You're just like, I'm just gonna write this scene, you know? But I think, yeah, that if you have a burning inside of you and it scares you, that might be what you need to do. You know, that might be what's calling you.
Marcie?
Thank
Yeah, reward can't be the thing, right? I mean, we're built towards seeing reward as the thing, like the amount of views something gets, or its distribution, or how many people see it, whatever. Doing the thing has to be it. Like that has to be your reward. Like it just, you know, it as a very shorter version of what everybody's saying really well. It's true. Like reward can't be your jam. Like it can't be what you're going for.
All right, now we're handing the show over, Jade.
Yeah, so Tanya, because I know she has wonderful questions. She always does. So, Tanya.
No pressure whatsoever.
No pressure. No, we don't pressure people here. That's silly.
Okay, so we have come a long way in the industry and we have just so far to go. You've all hit a moment, you've all reached a level of success in your particular genres, in your particular niches. How do you think the dynamics of power, privilege, and prejudice play a role in determining whose projects are backed and supported in the industry for where we are right now?
I'm going to open it up to the ladies that are working in the studios right now.
Marcie Abbey.
Oh,
Marcie.
studio. I'd love to think I'm in a studio. That
I
sounds
mean,
fancy.
development, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, from my perspective, I can just answer from my perspective, and from what I see, and this is in my immediate world, I just see a profound awakening happening. And I will just, not that I can speak for white women, but I will speak about white women and just say that I think for a long time in our business, it's been very easy to look at women as a whole, breaking, you know, as we are right now, right? Looking at women breaking glass ceiling. I think what the current sort of state of the revolution has done is made us look at that difference and go, actually, there's a huge difference between being a white woman in this industry and a woman of color, African-American woman, whatever it may be. And I really think because we've been pushing so hard as women to break through, we've just let that kind of delusion of sameness like really overtake that conversation. And I think now the conversation is changing, and I feel that it's changing industry wide. Everybody's paying massive attention. I know it's definitely happening in my world where that very question is being examined, interrogated, answered, and you know, data being gathered and answers being found as to how things can change.
That's exciting to hear.
Kind of brought up another level of that question, which is the intersections that play a role in those opportunities for women. And that's queer women, trans women, women of color, women of a certain age, or women with disabilities. So kind of same question, but throwing that into the mix.
Oh, it's really quiet now.
Wow.
I mean, I'll just say, I don't have much else to say other than like, yeah, I'm a white woman and I'm creating a show with, I didn't want to create a show in a vacuum. I'm not creating a show by myself. I created a writer's room with the intersection of a lot of those race and culture and gender, whatever. And that's my show. My show is called Intersection. And we are literally like exploring all of these facets under the guise of gentrification in Atlanta. So I know that those stories are just coming up, you know, as creators, we're like, yep, let's dive in.
Yeah, I mean, for me specifically, you know, I'm Spanish, Filipino, and Black, so a lot of people. And I think what happened is, you know, social media, which I've got my own love-hate with. I think for a long time at the studios, a lot of nepotism going around, right? I don't know, you know, I've had my own experience with, you know, racism, et cetera. I do think now that we've opened things up, we are seeing a big pop in that world. And I do think over the next 18 months, it's going to be very telling to see if this movement actually still continues. Because sometimes people will jump on things and go, yeah, I'm in. And then, you know, they'll buy it for the notoriety of putting it up on, you know, Deadline or The Wrap, et cetera. But I do feel like, you know, if you do read Deadline every day, if you don't, you should. You see all these, because, you know, we're seeing actually a big jump in front of the camera. Right now, actually, the African-American community actually has jumped hugely. Hispanic is coming up, but behind the scenes also, we're seeing a huge jump in that as well. So I do think people finally, I don't think they feel bullied, but I do think there was this great awakening where people are like, hey, we do need to attack those communities that are underrepresented. So I would say if we had this conversation a year ago, it'd be a little more passion on my side, but I do really feel like people are trying the best they can right now. And they're trying to be expeditious as possible, especially in the times where we're seeing all these, Disney, et cetera, consolidating and letting people go. So I do think the next 18 months will be very telling to see, if that trajectory still moves forward. Did I answer your question, Tanya?
Yes.
Yes.
We're just giving everyone a chance to see it.
I will fill up this podcast with answers, but one of the things I've learned this year is to not always be the loudest first person to speak. So I'm just going to try
to that.
person,
I agree.
but I'm always ready to fill in that space. You just let me know.
Okay. Actually, Marcie, I was so surprised. I was like, she's quiet? No.
I'm making myself not be the first girl to talk. Like, that's just way. I'm working on it.
Well, this is a very respectful group. I appreciate that.
Wow.
So my next question is about the Academy's new representation and inclusion standards. What do you ladies think of them, and do you think they will help?
I think anything we see institutionally will help. I will say that. I'm just since nobody's jumping in.
Wait, say it again.
Anything that is built in institutionally, I think should give us some hope. Like, I think when a company is willing to say this is going to be part of our practices moving forward, to Abby's point, like, of course people want to announce stuff. It's always been a thing, right, to get diversity clout for, but I think when people build it into their institutions, like, we have to have some respect for, this idea that they wouldn't build it into the foundation if they didn't really mean it. And that is a hopeful answer, but I think it is the truth. I hope it's the truth.
And I would just say what Abby said is, like, we'll see. Right? Like, kind of see what happens.
And I think, something that's diverse. The one thing I loved all the things they presented, but I really look up to people like Shonda Rhimes. Like, if you were to take Grey's Anatomy, it all comes down to the story.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, you have to walk that fine line of, hey, we would love to get all of these things in there, but you also want to make sure that it's authentic, organic. And not everybody has experienced all the things that a lot of us have been lucky to, travel and experience, or, have gay, trans friends, brothers, et cetera. So I think you've got to walk that fine line of getting all those points in, but it all goes back to story, and then kind of reverse engineering it. Like, hey, here's the foundation. Because if you watch Grey's Anatomy, you could put any race in any of those characters.
Right.
Period.
She doesn't write race into her scripts.
Right. So
well,
I think
she did at the beginning, though, because Derek was supposed to be a Black man, but the chemistry wasn't there with the actors, and she picked the two that she thought would tell the story the best. They happened to both be white, and I think she made the right call. It wasn't because she wasn't checking boxes. It was just, I had this in mind, but I want the best storytellers here,
Yeah. So I think with the Academy, I think they should be opening it up to newer writers of color, et cetera. But I also think when it comes down to story, if we're trying to do too much, that's where I think the authenticity and creative space might feel a little bit constrained. But I do feel like having that conversation definitely opens it up for people that we may not have heard of yet. They're like, hey, I don't even know they want to hear this story. So, but again, like I said, we'll see what happens.
Okay, so I want to go back to a simple question. Very simple and easy. Can you just tell the audience a little bit about what you do, what your responsibilities are, and a little bit about your daily life, like job-wise?
Marcie, take it away.
No, I'm not going first again. I keep jumping in. Somebody else go first. I just said I don't jump in, and then I jumped in. Terrible.
BD?
Yeah, BD. We haven't heard from her.
Yes. Hello. Yes.
So, okay,
talk about your day-to-day.
What do you do?
Hold on, because I'm getting ready to answer me in a second when I hop in the car.
Okay.
I love it.
It's so real and authentic.
Right. I love it. It's wonderful. So Megan, then, because you're on my screen. So
I got you. So I'm a writer, creator, producer. So what I do on a day-to-day basis, today I've been writing all day. My weekends are actually when I write, because I also have two young children. So I write, I meet with my writer's room. We're working on a series now. I have another series that I'm developing. So I am, putting together decks and pilots, and I meet with my producers. We have a film that we're distributing right now. Domestically, we distributed it, but then we're looking for international right now. So I'm trying to think of other like little things I do on a day. I have another film that we're going out to cast with. We'll have offers. We have offers going out. I read scripts often to see if they're a fit for us. And then acting, I'm still an actor. So I have auditions. I actually was on set yesterday on a commercial, because here in Atlanta, we're working. We're being very, very careful. Everything is the price of the budget has gone up a lot, but we're still working and super grateful for that. So that's kind of my day-to-days.
Yeah.
And kids. I'm a mom.
Thank you so much. You have way too much to do.
Yeah.
I feel like you need a vacation from like your
love it.
kind of vacation, or you were quarantined. You need a vacation from this.
Okay, so BD, we see that you're in the car.
10 and 2. 10 and 2.
I'm not driving.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
My day is very hectic because classes, I am back in school now, and I also have to go through a lot of meetings now that we have to do a lot of things remotely. So when it comes down to producing and all the different screenplays that we have that were ready to go for the beginning of 2020, and then COVID hit, we have a lot of meetings about that. So my day-to-day is like, wake up, make sure all my schoolwork is done, prepare if I need to teach class that day. If I have a screenplay that I'm writing or I'm working on, I make sure I write 5 hours a day, no matter what day it is. I ensure that I get 5 hours of writing, whether I'm staring at the computer or not. I have to give myself that time. Sometimes I have to disconnect, put the phone on, do not disturb, and just make sure that I'm giving these projects the amount of time that they deserve. And then I make sure that Sundays and Mondays, I don't do film work, so I can make sure that I have my time so that my brain doesn't explode. Because if not, I would work and continue to work until I was probably in the crazy house. But that's kind of my day-to-day life. I just want to make sure that I'm always working on the next thing, and I'm always working to make sure that I always have something on my plate. So that's my life.
Marcie, Abbey.
I love
Marcie, whichever.
I'll go. So I start off my day with a cup of coffee. So I start off my day actually reading the trades, because usually, somebody can bring you an incredible idea, but if you're not in the know of what your competitors have already bought, you could be buying the same thing. So I always just like to know, like, hey, this is what the trends are. This is what people are, looking for. So I read a lot of trades, a lot of articles, and then I'm the person that people hate. I'm the person you bring the idea into, and then I'll take the pitch. And then I'll run it up the chain, run it through research, marketing, standards and practices, get everybody on board. Once we like the idea, then we activate it. I'm the person that's the covering executive. So everything from hiring the writer's room, I approve all the writers, down to approving scripts, going to set, well, not gonna go to set as much anymore, but going to set, also approving cast members, etc. And then everything from final edits, sound, everything I have final approval on. So it's everything from soup to nuts.
I have a question. Why do people then hate you? Wouldn't you be like the best friend?
It would be amazing. But the thing is here's the part that I hate. As somebody that used to be an artist, and I understand that you're like taking someone's kid and you're like, I don't want to shake the kid, but there's so many deciding factors, right? So you're like, hey, here's our audience. I love your perspective, but let's say if you're going for traditional TV, standards and practices is not going to let you have this one scene that might be a little too edgy, and advertisers are going to bite my head off. Or we've got another series that has something similar to it. So having those creative conversations while also being respectful is one of those things that I really have to walk a fine line on. But I've had some really great fights for creators internally. But there are times when the suits come on set, you're like, hey, we can't do that, or check your labels, you get that approved. But yeah, it's a lot of kind of managing expectations and then making sure that we deliver the best product that we can. And sometimes it's also pushing content creators, right? Because sometimes they've heard or had a bad experience. And for me, I'm like, I want you to have the best experience. So,
well, and I would argue, Abby, that for you to like know what's out there, I think you're pushing the creativity too, so that the show is successful, and that is helpful for creatives. So
yeah, and also I watch, so, in between pitches and stuff, I have a cigar because I'm a lady. I'll watch, I do, it's so gross. I watch everything. So I remember when Unorthodox came out, I heard like a little bit of rumblings. If you haven't seen that limited series on Netflix, highly recommend it. So I'll watch anything and everything, scripted, unscripted, I do on my off time. But to see what's out there, because you want to make sure that if there is something that you're excited about and you want to do something that's very derivative, because let's be honest, a lot of networks are like, we want our thing. You want to make sure you've got a spin on it so it doesn't seem like a carbon copy.
Yep.
So, again, like I said, film and TV literally has saved my life. I can quote Cheers till I'm, blue in the face, Golden Girls, etc. So a lot of my time is not only, sitting down, I had a management experience for a long time too. So it's sitting down with the creators saying, okay, if you had your druthers, what is your end goal, your perfect world? So hopefully we can tick all those boxes. But a lot of the time, if we've got to do any kind of compromise, I'm giving them tangible reasons why. It's not just I'm trying to be a totalitarian, pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Yep. So that's my day.
Marcie.
That's great to hear that description. I love that. And it gives me life just because I, relate to it a lot. And I think that's one of the parts of our jobs that, the jobs we're doing right now, at least, is kind of translation in a way. And the reasons why you may have to do something for, a brand or the place you're working at, and really supporting producers and creatives, I think is a great way of looking at it. In thinking about my day, I mean, my day is all about just trying to do a really great job at work, and then also thinking about how to affect this industry in a meaningful way. And that's how my brain is sort of split. I do all kinds of stuff during the day that just has to do with creating new content and figuring out what the next show may be, and also thinking about that bigger picture of just what our industry looks like and how to support new voices or filmmakers that may benefit from some support or mentorship or whatever that might be. So I'm sort of split in that way, but my focus, much like Abby, is really being a great communicator and, making sure everybody, every experience, every meeting you have, you really kind of give your all to, in a sense.
Marcie, are you unscripted, or do you do both?
I'm unscripted. I'm an unscripted kind of girl. It's just that I've never fought it. It's just who I am. I know it's not the coolest.
Dude, but what are you talking about?
A lot of people do both. And I do love scripted. Of course I have a little piece of my heart, but I just love documentaries so much.
Dude, documentary is in. I think that Netflix has changed the entire universe for documentaries. So Octopus Teacher.
I know. Can you believe the stuff that is widely consumed now? It truly.
Tiger King.
Yeah. Yes. Which is now scripted.
That was the best part of the pandemic, making bread and watching Tiger King. It was still light. Yeah.
And having cultural conversations around it.
Totally. Marcie, what's your favorite documentary that was life-changing, that you're this kind of activated something in me? Because I love
man. I mean, when you were talking about Unorthodox, I was thinking about the unscripted documentary version of that, which is One of Us, by the filmmakers who did Jesus Camp, and One of Us, if you guys haven't seen it, is really incredible.
I have not seen that.
But there are a lot of them that are life-changing. I mean, honestly, when I saw American Movie back in the day and King of Kong, like these kind of old classic character films, I just remember awakening to the idea that there was this kind of sumptuous weirdness and joy in human life, and that you can capture it, was just like, I just remember that so well, and it's never left me. It's like all the weirdness that life is, you can like try to capture in a really artistic way that just, it gives me my full and complete life.
I always say, like, what I think is so amazing just on a daily basis is I'm like, you can't write this shit, because the Tiger King, you can't even write that.
Right.
You can't even write that. They wouldn't buy it.
So
See,
amazing.
like, this is not, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Tiger King was great.
Unscripted executives and the editors in unscripted. I have such a high. I'm like, oh my goodness, to get all that footage and then mold, because the story will turn on the day, like Megan said, right? You can't write the shit, it just happens.
Yeah.
To me, it's such a skill set. Like Jesus Camp, when I saw that, my head exploded.
Yeah. Yeah, the editing of, especially like a feature doc, like a follow doc. I mean, one of my things I must admit is that I think we need more terms within the unscripted world. You might feel the same for scripted, which is that, we don't have, except for the industry folks, like a follow doc versus, an OcuSoap, all these different terms we use. There's no general public kind of differentiation, which I think is weird because it is so different to have a talking head documentary about a topic versus to follow someone like that, But you're so right, Abby. Like I have that conversation so much where people are like, why does it take you so long to edit a feature doc? And I'm like, well,
oh my God.
10 years. There's 10 years of footage.
There is no script.
There's a documentary where they followed, it was called Best of Their Class, I think it was called. They followed 3 people for 10 years. And it was most likely to succeed.
Wow.
It's on
I
Netflix.
love that. I have not heard of that. I have to watch
On
it.
Netflix, actually a celebrity photographer who is female did it. If you haven't, it's called Most Likely to Succeed.
Love it. Okay.
10 years of footage. But I'm like, holy sweet Jesus. Yeah. So I mean, again, I have, when you say like unscripted, like, people, to me, it's at parity with scripted because especially now people are watching that in such huge volume.
Right. Yeah. It's changed a lot. I hear you.
Okay. So you guys,
y'all, please, Winona, we're going to do it one day, y'all. We're going to do it.
We have run out of time.
I know. So
This has been fun.
Yes.
Where can people find out more about y'all? I mean, literally, I'm gonna go with BD because she has so many films out and she has so many awards, and I just want her to tell me where they can find it. I'm gonna go with her. Sorry, y'all. I love y'all all, but BD.
Well, thanks. I guess go to my website www.bdaniellewatkins.com, or Instagram is probably where you're gonna get the most up-to-date information, and you can just put in B Danielle Watkins and my profile Black Butterfly. Oh, I got my phone.
Oh, nice. That was the
best way to end that ever.
Drop the mic.
That was scripted, but it wasn't. So you can't write it like
you drop the mic.
You can't write that.
Unscripted.
I don't know. The car's not moving though, so don't ask why the phone fell. Let it go.
God, that was good.
Okay, I'm gonna get it together. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay.
I'm done. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on and dropping the mic. Like, we appreciate it.
Definitely.
Meg.
I'm at megmessmer.com or Meg Messmer on Instagram.
Tanya.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait. Sorry, I wasn't done. Drop the mic.
Let's do it.
This is going to be a thing. I'm on social media at Ms. Tanya Todd, and my website is www.mstanyatodd.com. That's Ms., not Miss. And drop the laptop.
oh, you dropped that? Okay, sure, Abby. Why not? Let's do it. Abby?
So you can find me on Instagram. I don't answer all inboxes just for professional reasons, but you can follow me at Abbey Macs, ABBEYMACS, Abbey Macs.
Nice.
Marcie.
I will say, if you want to watch my last documentary, it's called Magicians. It is on Amazon Prime right now, if you want to check it out. I am really, really focusing right now on figuring out what that shift is that we talked about in terms of kind of getting new voices into the mix, also in terms of like the executive levels and that sort of change in our industry. So I'm just vocalizing that and saying it for the record as we continue our conversations. There's a lot going on in my part of the industry that I'm really happy to see. And on a personal level, I'm just, meeting more people than ever and seeing, how we can all kind of take charge and change our business for the better. And that's that. And I'm just Marcie Hume everywhere on all of the platforms.
Love it.
I want to thank everyone for taking a full 49 minutes out of their schedule You cannot believe this.
I know.
And
On a
talk to-
Saturday, y'all. So thank you.
And talk to little us. I mean, we understand why you would talk to Tanya, but
We love you guys. You guys are amazing.
Stop. You guys are amazing.
We're so short in stature, not any other way. Short in stature. Yes.
Social distance high five.
Yes, social distance high five, y'all.
Jade, wrap
Yes,
us up,
you can
please.
find out everything your ladies are doing, and we do mean everything, even like the little really boring things, like maybe when we talk about writing poetry. Ooh, right? Even that, you can find all of that on www.andwethought.com. While you're there, more importantly than like going to see our wonderful stuff that we have going on, please go to the ladies tab, go down the middle and see the charities that we proudly support. Yes, we know it's 2020, so you might not be able to do it monetarily because, money is funny in 2020, right? But you might be able to volunteer some time. And if you can't do that, just add them on social media or send them a nice email and say, thank you for doing this wonderful work in the world, because we can all use some encouragement, even Winona, the narcissist.
Yeah,
so that
especially
tells you.
today. I need encouragement.
That tells you how we all can use some more encouragement. So just remember, y'all, that wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, thanks for